My name is Anna and I'm 33 years old. I work as a nurse in a busy hospital. My days are long, filled with patients, medications, and endless footsteps echoing through white hallways. Sometimes I work during the day, sometimes at night. It's hard work, but I love it because I love helping people. That's what keeps me going. For a long time, it was just me. I lived alone in a small apartment not far from the hospital. I had no boyfriend, no partner, no one waiting for me at home. After my shifts, I was usually too tired to do much, but I often visited my mother in a quiet village nearby. She's getting older, and I like to be there for her when I can. My life was simple, maybe even a little lonely, but I had grown used to it. Then one day something changed. A new doctor joined our hospital. His name was Michael. He was 31, 2 years younger than me, tall, with soft brown hair and deep blue eyes that always seemed to be smiling. He had this calm, kind energy about him, someone who made you feel comfortable just by being around. All the nurses noticed him right away. He was friendly, helpful, and easy to talk to. The kind of guy who remembered your name and asked how your day was going, even if it was just a small moment in passing. At first, I didn't think he'd notice me. I wasn't the kind of woman who turned heads. I wasn't slim or glamorous. I wore simple clothes, kept my hair short and plain, and had never been the kind of person to draw attention. I was just ordinary. And someone like Michael, he seemed to belong to a brighter world. But then something unexpected happened. Michael started talking to me. Not just in a polite, hello nurse kind of way, but really talking to me. He'd ask how I was, share little jokes, or tell me about something that happened in the ER. Every day he made the effort. And every day I found myself looking forward to those short conversations. One day, after a long shift, Michael asked me if I needed a ride home. I was too tired to argue, so I said yes. He drove a clean, simple car, nothing flashy, and we talked the whole way. About work, our lives, our families. Felt easy. Natural. From then on, he offered me rides more often. Sometimes he brought me a coffee or a cup of tea during breaks. We'd sit in the hospital cafeteria and talk about everything and nothing. I began to feel something I hadn't felt in a long time, hope. Then one weekend, he asked me if I wanted to go see a movie. We both had the day off, which rarely happened. I said yes. We watched a romantic comedy. We laughed, we shared popcorn, and after the movie we walked around the city. The sky was turning pink with sunset, and for once I felt like I was in the middle of something good. Something real. I remember thinking maybe he likes me as much as I like him. But just a few days later, everything changed. We were sitting on a bench outside the hospital during our break. The air smelled like rain. Michael looked serious. He turned to me and said, "Anna, I need to tell you something." My heart dropped before he even spoke the next words. "I'm married." I just sat there, frozen. I didn't know what to say. He never mentioned a wife. He didn't wear a ring. Not once did he give me a clue. "I've been married for 5 years," he continued. "Her name is Laura. We don't have kids. Things haven't been good between us for a long time." He said they were very different. She had her world and he had his. They didn't talk much anymore. They barely spent time together. But with me, he said, it was different. I made him feel alive again. I made him feel seen. I didn't know how to react. A part of me felt happy that he cared about me. But another part, maybe the bigger part, felt sick. I didn't want to be a secret in someone's story. I didn't want to be the reason someone's life fell apart. I started to pull away. I needed time to think. To breathe. But just when I thought things couldn't get more confusing, something happened that made everything worse. It was a rainy afternoon. I went to a large supermarket in the city to buy groceries. As I turned the corner of the cereal aisle, I heard a familiar voice. I stopped. It was Michael. He was laughing, talking to a woman beside him. I stepped back, peeking between the shelves. It was her. Laura. She was beautiful, tall, elegant, with glossy dark hair and expensive clothes. She looked like she belonged in a fashion magazine. They looked happy. They were smiling, holding hands like a couple in love. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. I didn't wait to be seen. I left my card and walked out. My heart was heavy, my chest tight. Why would he spend time with me if he had someone like her? That night I couldn't sleep. My mind was spinning. I kept going over every conversation, every smile, every moment we'd shared. I remembered his words, that he wasn't happy, that they didn't connect. But from where I stood in that supermarket, it looked like a lie. The next morning, I went to work with a knot in my stomach. I didn't want to see him, but I had to talk to him. I needed to know the truth. When I saw him, he smiled like everything was normal. I didn't smile back. "We need to talk," I said quietly. He looked surprised. "What's wrong?" "I saw you at the supermarket," I said. "With your wife. You looked happy. I don't understand. Why are you spending time with me?" He sighed and sat down beside me. His voice was soft. "I know how it looked, Anna. But I'm not happy. I just pretend in public. With you, I don't have to pretend. With you, I feel like myself." I didn't know what to believe. I cared about him deeply, but I didn't want to be the other woman. I didn't want to build something on top of someone else's pain. "I need space," I said. "I need time to think." And I walked away. The next few days were hard. I kept going to work, helping patients, giving medicine, checking charts, but my mind wasn't really there. I thought about Michael constantly. Every time I passed him in the hallway, my heart beat faster. Sometimes he looked at me, and I could see the sadness in his eyes. Other times, he didn't say anything at all. At home, I sat in silence most evenings. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't read a book. I just thought. Over and over. I had feelings for him. That was the truth. I missed him, missed our talks, our coffee breaks, the way he smiled at me like I mattered. But I also knew something else, something just as important. I didn't want to be someone's secret. I didn't want to build my happiness on someone else's sadness. So I called my best friend, Sarah. She's the kind of person who always tells the truth, even when it's hard to hear. We met at a little cafe near her apartment. I told her everything, about Michael, about his wife, about how I felt like I was caught in the middle of something I didn't choose. Sarah listened quietly. Then she looked at me and said, "Anna, you deserve someone who is completely yours, not someone who sneaks you into pieces of his life." Her words hit me hard. But deep down, I knew she was right. Later that week, Michael called. He asked if we could meet. I hesitated, but agreed. We chose a small park near the hospital. It was quiet and green, with trees that swayed gently in the breeze. I saw him waiting on a bench, hands in his lap, eyes searching for me. When I sat down, he smiled gently. "I've missed you," he said. I nodded. "I've missed you too." There was a long silence between us. Then I took a deep breath. "Michael, I care about you. Maybe more than I should. But I can't keep doing this." He looked down, fidgeting with his fingers. "I understand," he said softly. "I saw you with your wife. You looked happy," I continued. "Maybe it was just for show, but it made me realize something. I don't want to wonder where I stand. I don't want to feel like a secret or a mistake. I want to be someone's first choice, not their escape." Michael looked up at me, his eyes shining. "You're not a mistake, Anna. Being with you, it reminded me of who I used to be. With you, I felt seen. Alive. But you're right. This isn't fair to you." I nodded. "If you're not happy with Laura, you need to figure that out. But I can't be the reason your marriage ends. That's not something I want to carry." He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He just sat there, silent, staring at the trees. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "For everything. You're an amazing woman. I hope someday I can be the kind of man you deserve." I smiled, even though it hurt. "Take care of yourself, Michael." Then I stood up and walked away. My legs felt heavy, and every step felt like I was walking through water. I didn't cry right away. I just felt empty. But deep inside, I also felt something else, strength. That night, I went home and made myself a cup of tea. I sat on the balcony and looked up at the stars. The air was cool and the world was quiet. For the first time in a while, I didn't feel like I was waiting for someone. I was just me. And that was okay. Days turned into weeks. I still saw Michael at work, but we kept it professional. He never crossed the line again. Sometimes we'd nod in passing, sometimes smile. But the spark between us, that secret little world, was gone. And maybe that was for the best. One day, Sarah and I went to a small music event in the city. It was nothing fancy, just a few local bands playing in a park. The sun was setting, kids were running around, and people were dancing barefoot in the grass. That's where I met Daniel. He was sitting near the back, reading a book while waiting for the next band. We started talking. It was casual, easy. No pressure, no sparks flying, just simple, honest conversation. Over the next few weeks, we kept in touch. He wasn't dramatic or complicated. He didn't make grand promises. He just showed up again and again in quiet and kind ways. One evening, as we walked by the river, Daniel turned to me and said, "You have this calm strength about you, Anna. It's rare." I smiled, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was exactly where I needed to be. Michael became part of my past. A beautiful, complicated chapter that taught me what I truly wanted and what I couldn't accept. I learned that love should never be hidden, should never make you feel like second place. Now, I'm still working as a nurse, still visiting my mom, still living my quiet life. But I don't feel lonely anymore. I feel full of hope, of strength, of lessons I'll never forget. And sometimes, when the world is quiet and the night is soft, I look up at the stars and thank the universe for every wrong turn, every painful moment. 'Cause they brought me here. To this peace. To this freedom. To this love that doesn't have to be a secret.